What secrets lie buried in the shadows of time?
Around 1177 BC, the great powers of the Mediterranean basin burned. Within a single generation, these massive, complex empires simply vanished from the map. These were the golden, interconnected empires of the Late Bronze Age. They formed the world's first truly globalized economy, running sophisticated trade networks that moved grain, timber, and luxury goods across thousands of miles. This entire world relied on a single material: bronze. Every army, every palace workshop, and every agricultural tool was built from this alloy. Without it, these civilizations could not function. But bronze carried a hidden, fatal vulnerability. While copper was found on Cyprus and Anatolia, tin was incredibly rare. To create a single sword, kings had to maintain a vast international logistics network that reached from the heart of the Mediterranean to the distant mines of the East. This deep interdependence created massive wealth, but it left the ancient world fragile. The system was optimized for efficiency, but it had no redundancy. If one trade route failed, every kingdom felt the shock. For generations, historians identified a single prime suspect for this collapse, a mysterious and brutal confederation known as the Sea Peoples. We know of them primarily through the boasts of the Egyptian pharaoh Ramesses III. He used the walls of his mortuary temple to record his defense of Egypt against what he described as an unstoppable maritime horde. These inscriptions claim that no land could stand before the Sea Peoples. The text describes them wiping out rival empires one by one, leaving a trail of ash across the Mediterranean before finally reaching the Egyptian border. In the 19th century, Egyptologists like Gaston Maspero took these royal accounts as fact. They built a historical model of a synchronized superarmy that arrived by sea to murder civilization. But recent research raises a question. Were the Sea Peoples truly an unstoppable military force? Or is this ancient propaganda masking an invisible killer? To find the truth, we must move away from the Egyptian monuments and look at the ruins of cities like Ugarit and Hattusa. Archaeologists have unearthed the final communications of these fallen kings. Their clay tablets are filled with desperate, unanswered pleas for military aid sent just moments before their cities were abandoned. Environmental data reveals a severe, prolonged drought gripping the eastern Mediterranean decades before the cities burned. The drought caused massive crop failures. Palace bureaucracies found their granaries empty, and trade networks strained as every kingdom struggled to feed its own people. At the same time, the ancient world was consuming fuel faster than nature could replenish it. Smelting bronze required vast amounts of charcoal, creating a silent energy crisis caused by total deforestation. The evidence reveals a different reality. Starvation and resource depletion were already destroying the ancient world before the first pirate ship appeared on the horizon. Archaeologist Eric Klein argues that this was a systems collapse. According to this model, a combination of overlapping stressors, drought, famine, and rebellion, interacted to shatter the entire network at once. This chart shows how the palace economy functioned. These governments were hyper-centralized. They controlled everything from grain storage to international trade. Because the system was so rigid, the failure of the food supply immediately paralyzed every other administrative node. The cycle was lethal. Famine led to unpaid soldiers, which led to unprotected trade routes. This immediately cut off access to the tin and copper needed to produce bronze. Without these metals, weakened armies could no longer forge the weapons required to maintain order or defend their ports. The state's ability to protect itself vanished along with its supply chain. The Sea Peoples likely consisted of displaced refugees, starving migrants, and opportunistic pirates responding to the same collapse affecting everyone else. They were products of the crisis, not its primary cause. The Sea Peoples appeared as the final symptom of a global supply chain that had already torn itself apart from within. In the aftermath of 1177 BC, the top-heavy palace states of the Mycenaeans and Hittites simply disintegrated into a decentralized Dark Age. Trade vanished entirely, and literacy rates plummeted. With the international bronze trade dead, survivors could no longer rely on distant shipments of tin. They were forced to pivot their technology toward a material they could find closer to home. They turned to iron. While harder to work with than bronze, iron ore was widely available. local communities could access it without relying on a fragile international network. This technological transition, mandated by the collapse of the Old Order, marked the shift from the Bronze Age to the Iron Age. The parallels to our own world are striking. We have built global trade networks that are highly optimized for efficiency, but dangerously rigid. Like the civilizations of 1177 BC, we rely on distant resources and complex logistics that can grind to a halt after a single disruption. The Bronze Age collapse serves as a warning. It demonstrates that a civilization is at its most vulnerable when its highly optimized systems can no longer absorb overlapping shocks.